Have you ever noticed my tongue is huge?
No.
They have a dead spoon. A dead spoon, I believe it's what's called in speech therapy. Basically, my back of my tongue, I think it doesn't move.
Really?
Yeah, that's why every once.
So what is hard for you to say?
Have you not noticed that? Million of things that I mispronounce? Like I can't say Gwet Western Dwell. Basically, I have
to so do you have problems with your R's?
Yes, I can't roll my R's. I can't roll my R's at all. R's are hard. I would not make a good pirate.
I've noticed a few times, but
that's why I don't.
Saying crutch for crux is not an excuse.
No, but I don't like listening to our podcast simply because I hear all my little things that I say. I find them adorable. Oh, thank you. This is why you're my friend.
Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Joe.
And welcome back. Good evening, good listeners. We're back with our episode of Board Game Snobs.
I'm very unsure of
I'm very unsure. Well, I just realized that I had some notes of what we were going to talk about, and I just realized I can't find them. We're going to talk about Gravwell. We're going to talk about which is an older game, racing game, about gravity wells. Or
that's what that means.
Yeah. I watched Interstellar the other day. Still makes me cry every time. And it feels like 100 years passes every time I watch that film. It's a good show.
It's okay.
And we're going to watch Architects of the...
We are going to watch it.
West Kingdom.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Watch it, because I'd like to...
Watch it played.
By
Rodney.
Yeah, thank you, Rodney.
Watch that show. Okay, that's it for us.
I do like it.
We're out.
Watch that.
All we do is promote other shows on our show.
That's pretty much... Hey, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's pretty much what I've noticed that a lot of podcasters and YouTube board gamers do. They're like, hey, so I played board games with this guy, and I played board games with this guy.
We don't play with anybody.
We don't. We just kind of do our own thing. But that's because we're different. Well, I don't know if it's because we're different or that
we're different, all right.
We're just not popular.
That too.
Probably.
All the above. Although, remember we said hashtag Team Jerry or Team Gobby?
Did no.
Somebody hashtagged Joji's wife. Hashtagged Team Jerry.
She did?
I believe her name is Denva. At least that's her IG name.
Denva? I like that name.
I don't know if that is her name or if that's just like her IG name. But I don't know if it's like a Bostonian trying to say Denver. Yeah, we're going to Denver.
That was not appropriate, but okay.
That's not appropriate?
I don't know. You can't make fun of people from Boston.
Oh.
Can you?
Everybody makes fun of people from Boston.
We are literally the opposite side of the world from Boston, so I guess we can.
If you're Bostonian, I like your accent, actually.
Email us and tell us and explain
to
me why that Ben Affleck can't do a Bostonian accent.
But he's supposed to be from there.
He's not. He can be. Can't
he
be.
Is.
Is he?
That's the whole thing with him and Matt Damon. They're from Boston. That's the whole, what was the show they wrote?
I don't know. They write a bunch of stuff.
No, the first one.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. That was like them in Boston. That was the show. We're from Boston. They might as well name the movie We're from Boston.
They couldn't name it Boston because of the band.
Because that was it.
Yeah. Well, Denva, thank you very kindly. She's Team Jerry.
She went Team Jerry.
She's already a classy lady.
I told you. No, this is the deal with, you were saying on that, well, I don't know when this is going to come out, but you're like, oh, everybody likes you.
They do.
But you are the outgoing one. When I get in public, I clam up.
You do clam up. But when people, here's the thing though.
Very shy.
It's like one of those little charts that where the longer people stay around me, the less they like me. It's like, whereas with you, it's just exact opposite. It's like the more time they spend with you, it's like, how better it gets.
I get it.
What is
then
this?
I become less shy.
What is this? What we're drinking? This is some cheap bourbon.
I went to Total Wine & More in Dallas. They had a large bottle for like $22. I purchased it. Now, actually, I had this and Knob Creek 120 single barrel. A little, whatever the 750 version. I don't know what that is.
Knob Creek.
I think that's a fifth.
Yeah.
It was like $50-something. So it's either get a small amount, but it's a quality bourbon that's very delicious, or get a gigantic amount for half the price. And the taste is not quite as good, but hey.
This is interesting.
All you need to
this
do.
is
This is interesting.
This is an interesting bourbon. This has a very nice Equating brand taste to it.
Nice chemical taste.
Feels like paint thinner. That's what I'm looking at.
This is what I've discovered. Almost every bourbon tastes the same to me. I mean,
give me a second.
There are some that are worse than others.
Okay, no. Oh.
No. Feel the beer.
No, I like that Knob Creek now.
Well, yes. But do you want to pay $70, $50?
It depends. Like for right now, if the listeners haven't tuned in, about episode 5 of the Board Game Snobs, we did a rule that where basically we weren't going to script anything or even plan ahead. And also, occasionally we would shoot the podcast after we get off work. And generally after we get off work, we like to rewind and rewind
yes.
and unwind with an adult beverage. And so a lot of times during our podcast, you'll hear the
clinking
of ice. That is because we've just gotten off work. It's 5:15.
Just envision a sophisticated drink.
Sometimes it's not sophisticated.
In the hand of a sophisticated man. Envision that, because that is not what's happening. I just want you to envision that.
Yes. We're sitting around the fireplace.
Yes. Smoking our pipes.
Got our,
Oh, Jerry. Let's discuss Gravwell, shall we? Nice hair, boy.
It's a black hole. It's a dark, much like my soul.
Did you ever see The Black Hole?
Which one?
As a Disney movie.
I have
in the
not.
80s.
No.
The Black Hole.
Is this called The Black Hole?
It is a Disney movie from the 80s. It features robots that had these guns that were like horseshoes, kind of.
Uh-huh.
You've never
seen it.
Okay, well.
Well,
interesting.
To throw one out that I have watched from the 80s, which makes me think of another one. The Last Starfighter. You ever watch that?
Oh, yeah.
Love that show.
Yes.
When you said that, I just that automatically made me think of old 80s shows.
Speaking of shows.
Go ahead.
And this merges into board gaming.
Merge it.
Segue. Merge. You say segue, I say merge. Merge. Everybody merge. That's a Brian Regan skit.
Go ahead.
Black Mirror, a popular show on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's usually a little rough. It's not really a family show, but it's a sci-fi type futuristic show. I'm sure nearly everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, apparently they just put out this one called Bandersnatch. I don't know how long it is, but I think it's almost like movie length. It's a choose your own adventure.
Oh.
Apparently you're supposed to be able to choose the direction of the movie. I had heard talking about this.
Really?
But I just saw it on Twitter. I haven't looked it up for myself. I don't do any research. This could be completely untrue. But as of this moment, as of this evening, I believe it to be true. Therefore, it is true in my mind at this moment.
You're the Dan Rather of news right now.
So, an interactive movie, which is basically a choose your own adventure.
How would you feel about going and getting on, whether it be Netflix or a movie theater, and doing something like that? It is choose your own adventure. To me, that crosses over into a board game. I mean, not a board game, but a video game. And I have several choose your own adventure
An
books
RPG, basically,
that I like, and there have been several video games that are story based where you choose, like Telltale Games has a line,
mm-hmm.
and those are truly the only video games that I particularly play. Are just the ones that are like you're telling a story. For instance, and this is board game related, I will merge this.
There you go.
Pillars of the Earth. They have a video game out that tells the story of Pillars of the Earth. I'm reading Pillars of the Earth.
Have you made it any further?
I'm like page 250.
Wow.
It's good.
Is that a third of the way through?
It's 1,000 pages, so I'm a quarter of the way.
Quarter of the way through.
Well, I played the video game, and the video game is it's good. I highly recommend it. If you don't want to read 1,000 pages, get on steampowered.com and get Pillars of the Earth, the video game. It's just a nice, brief story, and it was really touching. And and I don't know if it matches up well with the book, but the book has so far been different, but it gives the same flavor. And so I don't mind that there's different ways of telling a narrative, telling a story, and choose your own adventure is one of them. But
I mean, it's a novelty, but I don't really care to. Just tell me the story. I want to sit back, relax, and be told, not have to think about which path I want to choose.
Quick question. Does it bother you when a story ends ambiguously, or do you like everything tied up?
I like it tied up.
I do too.
I don't like ambiguous.
I don't like the whole, what if they lived or what if they did this? I like
Inception bothered me.
No, it didn't bother me because I know what it was.
So you did?
Yes, I do.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Who told you?
Nobody told me. Figured it out.
How?
I've always thought this.
What?
You ready for this? You ready for this? Listeners, just turn this off so you don't have to listen to this. Your mind's not blown. About the hour mark into the film, where Leonardo DiCaprio's character goes to India and meets with the chemist, and they test the drug that they're going to use. Mm-hmm. He never comes out of it. He tests that drug, and the rest of the film is him
in a dream.
In a dream. It was all a dream.
My heart's broken if that's true.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Because it was all a dream. It was not real. It was not real.
Now, did you come up with that on your own, or have you seen that?
No, I've watched it. And anytime I watch something that there's a particular dream sequence, I'm waiting for that because I was expecting at the end of the show for it to go back and be like, aha, he wakes up, or you remember this, but it didn't do it. But I like that ambiguous ending. But deep in my heart, I know he was still asleep.
Well, now that sucks.
Well, you can interpret it differently.
I don't like ambiguous endings.
Well,
I like definitive endings. Okay, segue.
Merge.
Christopher Nolan, Inception, Interstellar, Gravwell's merge complete.
That was a hard merge. What? There's your. I'm always thinking up terms for good action movies. Hard merge. It's like a driver, like a truck driver who's always having to merge into lane. Starring Gabi Moraga.
Hard merge.
The man who doesn't use a blinker.
In a world without yield signs.
Hard merge.
Hard merge.
That's a good one. I like it.
I watched Pacific. Okay, we're going to go out of the merge.
No,
we're going out of the merge.
Stop! I don't want to hear. No, look, you brought
up movies, and that's my favorite thing to talk about.
Stop!
Next to board games.
Next time we'll talk about how you bored me to death. Tell me the intricacies of Pacific.
Bored you to death? Board games, movies.
Pacific Rim 2.
Pacific Rim.
Yes.
There's a rim I'm looking for, and it's very specific.
Gravwell. Gravwell.
The rim of the gravity well.
So in Gravwell, you are these spaceships that have been sucked into like this black hole-ish looking Gravwell thing.
Wasn't it the singularity?
It's the singularity. It's not, and it circles out in a fashion to where you're trying to basically slingshot yourself out of the Gravwell. I guess that this is Star Trek. You'd be going back in time and wind up in the 70s.
You would. 80s.
But during the game, at the beginning of the game, each player kind of drafts from this pool of cards that are splayed out in front of you. And these cards are, very interestingly, they're numbered and they're lettered. And the number is how many spaces your ship will move. And the letter is which card will activate first. All the players put their card down, face down in front of them. They flip them over. So the A card would go first all the way down to Z. Here's the catch. And I love it that this game has this difficult little catch. Your ship will go that many spaces, that many numbers, towards the closest object. So, for instance, if my card is an A and it has a number 8 on it, it's going to activate, obviously, first. But if I'm ahead of the pack, ahead of the other spaceships, I'm going to go backwards 8 spaces.
You have to go to the nearest ship.
The nearest ship, the nearest object. And there's some derelict ships out there that you kind of utilize to get a hold of. And so it's like gravity's playing a part. You're trying to pull yourself closer into these other objects. And so you only have one chance each round to emergency stop yourself, like if you really mess up. Mm-hmm. And so basically you get one mulligan each round. You have to play your hand up. I believe it's 6 cards or 8 cards, is it?
6.
Throughout the round.
I think.
And it's just fascinating because...
There we go. Fascinating.
And this is why I have been looking...
Take a shot every time you say fascinating. I would never make it through the show. Can I read a podcast from the floor? That's fascinating. Hey!
No, Harry Carey.
Harry Carey here.
No, stop.
It's been a while.
If the moon was made to stop. So you're going to lead us down this path.
I love gravity.
Keeps me grounded. There's all the racing games I've looked for to find. Like, I did not like, what's the Tour de France one?
Flamme Rouge?
I did not like it. It was somewhat boring to me.
I think you said Flamme Rouge.
Yes. It's like the Moulin Rouge, but on fire.
Creme Luge? Luging. That would be a fun game.
The Flaming Luge. I didn't really like it. Downforce, I enjoyed. It was very light.
It's all right.
But it's odd. Camel Up is interesting. It's like a family game.
It's more of a betting game.
Yeah, and I like betting games.
It's fun.
But it wasn't really much on racing.
The one the one that most people refer to, well, I guess Flame Rouge now, but no, still is the Day.
Formula D.
Formula D.
And you had that. You didn't like it.
No, because I tried it with 10 people one time, and it's like forever slow, and it's not quite as exciting as you think it is, and it's got a runaway leader problem.
Formula dull.
Formula duh.
Burn.
Yeah. I'm sure we're the first to do that.
Anyways, Gravwell, my favorite racing game.
Wow.
It's being labeled. Yeah, I've contacted the distributor and said you can go ahead and put Jerry's favorite racing game on it, on the sticker on the box if you like. I haven't heard back. But it was
And they replied with, "Who's Jerry?"
Who's Jerry? It was good.
And you replied back with, "Oh, they'll know soon. They'll know soon.
The day will come.
Hard merge."
Hard merge too. No brakes.
Okay, so
We got to stop that.
I too liked Gravwell.
You did?
Yes, it was very fun, very quick, there is strategy in it, but it's also like, it's almost like a bluffing game. You're trying to think of what the other person's doing. I tweeted about it. The designer liked my tweet.
What?
Mr. Corey Young.
The thing that makes me laugh about Gravwell is it really is the ships flying by each other. And then all of a sudden one of them slingshotting backwards. And so
Slingshot
like
engage.
all of a sudden you're like speeding by somebody and then the next second you're going, whoa! Going,
whoa! It's like that Doppler effect.
I got cracked up so hard playing that game. It was fun. And we played it with 4, and it was fun. And I would play it with 5.
It's a good time.
And
it's
it was
kind of
fun.
solo.
I don't know how you would solo that.
I guess it would have a dummy ship, probably.
Okay, but I'm sold on Gravwell. Like that's a game that I think I would want to play. It's light enough that I would play that with just regular people. It's not
that's very
snobs.
snobbish.
I
play it with the peasants of the group.
Yes.
Would you like to play a game of Gravwell?
It sounds
peasants.
It sounds like it's so complicated, but it's not.
It's not.
It's snot.
It's snot.
It's very snot.
It's very snot. It's very easy. It's easy. I mean, the rules are easy. Figuring out what everybody's doing is not so easy.
Oh, you said this bourbon's called Black Eagle?
Black Eagle.
Oh.
Feel the burn of the eagle.
In the world. The Flam Eagle. But Gravwell gets my seal of approval. It's an older game, though.
Board Game Snobs approved. We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't?
I haven't. I think our last several, Everdale, Coimbra, Zolkin, we haven't liked anything in a while.
Really?
Speaking of things we don't like.
Architects?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it makes me sad.
Shim Phillips, the guy who does,
Shim.
Shim?
Close to Shimp.
Shimp?
You were wrong. Around the World in a Daze is that Joe DeRita. He was the third one that came in on the Three Stooges. It was Curly Howard, brother of Moe. Curly, Larry, and Moe were the originals. Then Shimp came in. I think he was a cousin. Joe DeRita was in the movie you liked. And they tried to recreate him into another Curly.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
And you were so positive.
Curly Joe.
You were so positive.
I would have sworn it was.
I had to get
he died in 93 of pneumonia.
Joe DeRita?
Joe DeRita. I'm looking him up right now.
I mean, how old was he?
I don't know, but he was buried in Valhalla Memorial Park. Segue! Because Shim did Raiders of the North Sea.
He did.
There you go. That's how you segue. I'm sorry. Merge.
No.
That's how you hard merge.
Hard merge in a world.
So, Architects of the West Kingdom. I don't know how to put into words why I don't like it. It is a game that does nothing special.
Well, that's one way to put it.
It is
I don't know how to put it into words. Let me just put it into words. It does nothing special.
I like how this sounds so humble. I don't know how to do this, but I'm about to exactly do what I said I don't know how to do.
Done. All right, next subject.
Architects of the West Kingdom. You basically have a handful of workers.
20, to be exact.
You place one out in this area, and it gives you 1 wood. And the next time If you place another guy there, you have 2 workers, so you get 2 wood. And so that's kind of the mechanism that it uses. That you calculate how many workers you have when you put that spot down.
Multiplier effect.
The one little catch does with his worker placement is that there's this one spot that you can go to that you can round up other people's workers and put them in jail.
Yeah.
And make some money off of it. It's very gimmicky. Like, it doesn't really affect the game too much.
It didn't really affect me.
I won the game.
You did it like once or twice?
I held your people hostage. I didn't take them to the prison. I just held them.
Enrique did it.
I held them in the basement.
Yeah.
I basically stole your peoples and said, they put the lotion on or they get the hose. And, didn't sell them anywhere. But I won the game without buying any cards. Any character cards, and it was just very...
You ran up the cathedral track.
Which I was reading. I'm still, Pillars of the Earth. Yes. So that was on my mind, which is basically what you're doing. You're building a cathedral. I didn't like it. It was fine. But it's one that when I played it, when I was about halfway through it, I knew I'm not going to want to play this game again. Like, I'm fine with it. And to my chagrin, is that even a word?
Yes, it is.
Everybody seems like they love it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's very basic.
It is.
And it's very just meh.
It's like on everybody's top list of 2018.
Well, it's not on my top list.
I think people get... In Shim, while I love Raiders North Sea.
Thank you, Shim.
So he has that going for him. And so people, I guess, want to like his games. And I mean, it's a fine game, but it's another one of those like Everdell. Go here, collect that, buy this. Go here, collect that, buy this. It's like you said, it does nothing special. The little special thing is the multiplier effect, or you can arrest them, but that didn't even really affect the game. That cathedral track seems overpowered to me. Yeah. I don't know if that's just me.
It might be just you.
But, I mean, we played it, and that's the deal. We played it once. We played it 3-player. Maybe it gets better. I want to play it solo. I enjoy these games solo. Raiders of the North Sea, I enjoy very much solo. They have a good solo deck, like an Automa deck. But, no, I was bored. I was ready to quit halfway through.
And I kept it going.
Jerry kept it going because he was winning.
I was winning, and that's important to me.
But, Raiders versus Architects get Raiders every step of the way.
I will say this. Raiders so far has been the pinnacle of Shem Phillips' design. I do like his...
And that's even including the shipwrights and those other ones that come out. Good. Like... Those are universally they're not as good as Raiders.
No. Raiders is the pinnacle of his design, and it's good because he takes a mechanic.
So far, he may design something that beats it.
His Kickstarter's coming out in March, I think, of 2019 for Paladins of the West Kingdom.
So, yeah.
Hard pass on Architects. It's very basic. Renegade Games and Shin Phillips, but
Sorry.
The other one we were going to talk about was an old one, a throwback, one of my favorites that was on one of my top 10.
A new segment, throwback. Let's make that a segment. I kind of figured out why people make segments as I'm editing our podcast.
Yeah.
It makes it way easier to edit.
It's like, this isn't a throwback section.
Whenever we just do stuff like in one show about one thing and don't have any segments, and we have to do I have to do some heavy editing.
You do some excellent editing, by the way. Excellent editing, by the way. Excellent editing, by the way. Excellent editing, by the way.
Thank you.
I like our cold openings that you do. Those are my favorite part of the show.
So you turned off after the introduction?
Yeah, pretty much.
After Nigel?
I'm like,
and I'm done.
Yeah.
We just need the downloads. We don't need everything else. You don't have to listen. Just download it.
Yeah, tell your friends, just download. They don't have to listen.
We just need hundreds and thousands of downloads. But segments are helpful. Yeah. So you can break into segments, then you can just edit something else in there. So now for our throwback segment, go Jerry.
Gates of the Loyang. I think that was my number 8 or 9 on my top 10 list back last year.
Yeah.
Gates of the Loyang is the only UA Rosenberg game I like. The newest version was put out by TMG Games. Gates of the Loyang is a very boring theme. You are selling vegetables at the Gates of the Loyang. And the game starts off where you're given this little deck of, I believe it's 8 cards that are your field cards. And that's how you time the game. Your little card flips over, and this is the fields that you have available to plant various vegetables. There's 5 or 6 different types of vegetables. And there's some light card drafting, at the beginning between the players where you're drafting these cards. Actually, it's like an offering. You have cards and you lay it down in the front of the group and they can pick up cards from that area. It's very odd kind of card drafting, basically. But after that, the whole crutch of the game is you trying to fulfill orders. I say crutch instead of crutz. Crutz.
C-R-U-X.
The crutches?
I think it's C-R-U-X.
It is C-R-U-X. It's the crutch of the game. But I have a speech impediment, and I think our listeners...
What specifically is your impediment, if I may ask?
It is I have a thick tongue. Have you never noticed my tongue is huge?
No.
They have a dead spoon. A dead spoon, I believe it's what's called in speech therapy. Basically, my back of my tongue, I think it doesn't move.
Really?
Yeah, that's why every once.
So what is hard for you to say?
Have you not noticed that? Million of things that I mispronounce. Like I can't say Gwet Western Dwell. Basically, I have
Western. So do you have problems with your R's?
Yes, I can't roll my R's. I can't.
Really?
I can't roll my R's at all. R's are hard. I would not make a good pirate.
I've noticed a few times, but
that's why I don't.
You saying crutch for crux is not an excuse.
No, but I don't like listening to our podcast simply because I hear all my little things that I say. I
find them adorable.
Oh, thank you. This is why you're my friend. I wish you'd buy better bourbon.
Well, feel free to bring some.
Oh man, that is giving me a headache, man. That is some rough stuff. I'm pretty sure you just. I'll be honest. I just put some brown dye and some rubbing alcohol. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Is that you just got some?
It's not. Now, see, you would have never known.
Isopaterenol or alcohol in there.
You would have never. Wait, what?
What?
Isopaterenol. I thought it was isopropyl.
I think you're right. I think
rubbing alcohol.
No, you're right. Isopaterenol is a heart medication. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Oh, Cubby, you've been reading.
No, I've been drinking it. That's spot, boys. Rubbing alcohol.
Gates of Loyang.
Just kidding.
Where you sell vegetables to these various people. So you take a customer, and this is what I like about it.
I'm also out of breath freshener.
You've got your Listerine. That's my favorite. Get some Listerine and cranberry juice. You've got your little board where you draft cards that are your customers. And so you have two types of customers. You have a regular customer that each round will come and demand these two certain vegetables. And every time you fulfill that order, you get X amount of money. Well, the regular customers...
demanding.
You're demanding. And it's hard.
Demand...
radishes!
Radishes! Give me your radishes now!
But if you don't give it to them, they get mad.
So temperamental.
And then you have casual customers that just come in wanting random things. And
you got, bruh?
You just fulfill that.
I'll take those radishes if you got them, dude.
So, of course, the casual customers don't get mad. They don't get upset when you don't have the wheat or melons that you need.
Just whenever you get a chance.
But they're worth less.
Oh. Worthless?
Yes, they don't pay as much because they're casual.
Hey, will you take a $5 for those radishes?
No.
I will give you 20, but I demand them now.
Yes, that's pretty much how the game goes. And so you're managing resources basically, and having to plant vegetables and know which vegetables are going to grow each season. And so those are the vegetables that are going to be in your cart, and those are the vegetables you're going to have to trade and to sell. And it's just, I don't know why I don't hear more people talk about Gates of Loyang, because
it's an era of Cult of the New.
It is probably one of the best Euro games. I'm looking at our shelf trying to find a Euro game. There are some great Euro games out there, but Gates of Loyang,
especially Uwe games. Uwe.
I don't know.
Mr. Rosenberg. That's the best of his games.
It's probably
your opinion.
In my opinion, it's
okay.
I don't like Le Havre.
I've never played any of those others.
Don't like them.
Based on your recommendation.
Which you'd be smart to follow. You're Team Jerry.
Cave, hashtag Team Jerry.
Yeah.
Cave versus Cave, I owned. Literally never played it. Yeah. I left it here one day. Jerry played it. Said, "Oh, it's terrible. Get rid of it."
On it. It was bad.
Yes. Jerry hates Agricola.
I don't hate it. It's just, yeah, okay. You could say hate it.
Yeah. You don't like it. Every time.
You could say hate it.
Yeah. Caverna. So therefore, because of Agricola, you don't want to play a Caverna. You had Le Havre, the same thing.
Yeah.
You didn't like it either.
I want to play Glass Road. I haven't got to play it. That's the one about blowing glass.
Yeah.
But Uwe Rosenberg games.
The one that's always... Oh, wait. No, it's kind of hard to get.
It's kind of hard to get. But Gates of Loyang is readily accessible, I believe. I think it's easy to find. And I highly recommend if you are... All right, here's the thing.
Here we go.
Forget about Architects of the West Kingdom.
Okay.
Gates of Loyang has a solo that is really good.
Okay.
It plays well with 2 players. It plays well with 3 players. It plays well with 4 players. It doesn't slow down. It does take a little bit. The rules are kind of... The rule book is kind of just... It's not laid out right. I think that's some problem I have with Uwe Rosenberg games. Sometimes his rule books just look a little weird. But it is accessible. I learned it. I enjoyed it.
Learned it.
So why don't you just do yourself a favor?
Okay.
Skip out on Architects of the West Kingdom.
Okay.
Go track you down Gates of Loyang.
Where's it at?
It's at your mama's house. And if that don't, if you're looking for something lighter, something funner, something just racing wise, Gravwell. Those are the 2 games. Gates of Loyang was the top 10 game for me.
Loyang.
And it is still holding up, baby.
It's on Amazon for a mere $199.
It's worth every penny. Are you kidding me? Is it that out of print?
Let me check cool
Check
stuff
cool
real
stuff
quick.
real fast.
Gates of Loyang. Gates of Logans. How about that? There's no Gates of Logans.
So it's like people standing outside selling steaks. Is that what that is?
Hey, Logan. No, I typed in Logan that time. Gates of Loyang. Out of stock at Cool Stuff.
Okay.
So apparently it's not anywhere.
Yeah, it was selling.
So you're recommending a game that is out of print.
Okay, well, it was on Miniature Market
so
for $42, but it's out of stock. So sadly, Gates of Loyang is going to be hard to find.
If you want to buy our copy, send us $200. It's yours.
No.
Wait, what?
No.
Would you not sell it for $200? You know it's going to come back in print. $200. Okay. I will tell Jerry it's lost. You send me $200. It's on the way.
I love Gates of Loyang.
It's around here somewhere, Jerry.
Well,
it is.
I'm going to reminisce about Gates of Loyang, but our next upcoming episodes are going to be about Treasure Island, which I see Gabi has bought, which looks like a lot of interesting fun. Chronicles of Crime.
What?
What? Oh, of Narnia. Yeah, I get it. I get your SNL reference. I'm cool.
Speaking of cool.
As I raise the palms of my hands to the roof. Yeah, I'm
You're
cool.
so white right now.
What? No, what? No.
You and your gorgeous hair. I always look at your hair.
Why is that?
I look at it with envy.
Well, that's because I
shaved mine down.
Let me tell you something about Gabi Moraga. I'll tell you something about Gabi. Let me tell you something about Gabi. Back in the day, if you look at his high school picture, I asked his wife one time.
That's sad to say that.
I know. I asked his wife, like, why did you marry him? Like, what was it about him? And she shows me a picture, and it was like, is that a young Keanu Reeves? It's like black, thick head of hair, combed back. She says, yeah, he was a handsome man. Logan. I said, really? She says, oh yeah. And I was like, man, and that's this.
You know,
lets you know that time gets us all.
Time is well,
yeah.
If only we could cuss on this podcast.
We can't.
I would curse out time.
You can't curse out time.
Why
you can
not?
Steam time. That's about the same. Another game, Steam time, free review. Don't.
It's okay.
It's okay.
For beginner.
It's okay. It's just your crystals.
Speaking of which,
go ahead.
Actually, completely unrelated. This is not a hard merge.
Hard merge.
I posted on Board Game Geek. What would you like us to review? Talk about? We got a few entries about the length of our podcast.
Who's griping about the length of our podcast?
They're not griping. They said it's a commendation. They would like to hear more.
Mr. David says, ditto request for longer durations. Your collective wisdom cannot be contained in a mere half hour.
So we need to push for at least 45 minutes.
As Paul would want us to talk about some things here, who posted on the guild. Paul,
What's he want us to talk about?
He wanted to talk about... okay, he named some games that he wanted us to try to give...
okay.
All right, so some of these games are ones that I actually are after. For instance, Through the Ages, I have on our shelf, and
we've had on our shelf.
We've had on our shelf for quite some time.
We've had on our shelf for many ages.
Madeira. I've been wanting to play Madeira. I don't know. That's super heavy. That's like the...
Is it out of print?
No, it's like the heavy cardboard guys. They love Madeira. Brass, which we love.
Doesn't she make lots of movies with Tyler Perry?
That's Medea.
I thought, well.
Man, I'm getting all your references. I don't know. It's this Black Eagle has got me going. Food Chain Magnate, which was
sorry. Who's that? Paul?
Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
Food Chain Magnate to me was one of the biggest overblown games of the century.
And people get mad when you call it a deck builder.
So don't do that.
Basically, you're making your cards you have in your hand stronger and then playing them later.
Yeah.
Seems very
deck
coincidental
builder-ish. Dominant Species. I've been wanting to play Dominant Species for some time. It's a GMT game with the little cones and the cubes, and
right.
I want to play that. And that's one that I'm hoping to at one day. Maybe at BGG. I'd like to find somebody that knows how to play that game. How long
is your list for BGG?
It's
to be played games.
Miles long. Like we won't have enough time. But that's all right. Oh, we're going to be at BGG in May. And so if you're going to be there at BGG in May and you want to see us, look for the fat bald man.
Look for Laurel and Hardy.
Look for Laurel and Hardy.
The big fat guy and the skinny guy.
I'll be yelling and probably wearing a shut up and sit down shirt.
I will have some Darkwing Duck or something on.
I like your Darkwing Duck shirt.
Well, if you grew up with Darkwing Duck, you can not like Darkwing Duck.
That's how I feel.
He's the Batman of ducks. What else needs to be said?
The Batman of ducks.
If you were to choose a cool duck, it would be the Batman of ducks.
Well, so you don't like Scrooge? I don't really like him either. My favorite duck.
He's just always angry.
All right, my favorite duck.
There is a reboot of DuckTales.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's pretty good.
I liked Duck. My favorite duck was the guy that was the pilot. What was his name? Oh, what was the duck's the pilot?
The original was Gyro. Is it Gyro?
Gyro. Yeah, it was Gyro.
Is that him?
That's him. I like Gyro.
In the DuckTales from the 80s, no, I guess it's the 90s.
Yeah.
He was the one that had like a wheel that propelled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a hat.
A little hat. Yeah, I like Gyro. I also liked, what's his face?
Let's talk about Disney cartoons of the 90s.
That's not.
Let's do it.
This Black
Tailspin, never watched it.
Liked it.
With Yogi, no, not Yogi.
It was Base Baloo.
Baloo. Never watched it. It was like the Indiana Jones cartoon.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
You didn't watch it?
For some reason, it didn't appeal to me.
You missed it.
I watched Rescue Rangers.
Loved it.
I watched DuckTales.
Which was Magnum P.I. Yeah. Loved it.
Monterey Jack's the name. Yeah. Cheese is the game.
It was Magnum P.I., Indiana Jones, and what's his face? Crocodile Dundee.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was. They just took everything that you loved.
And Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck.
I came home at 3:30 every day after school and turned on whatever channel that was, WGN or something. After the Cubs game, hey everybody, stay tuned for DuckTales, and that's what I would watch.
Yep,
those like 2 hours of cartoons. And you know what? They don't have that these days.
Simpler times.
Back in my day. So old now.
Yeah.
Well, we're not quite at 45 minutes.
No, this is as far as I can stretch it.
Come on.
No.
45 minutes. Do it for Paul.
I can't do it for Paul. Paul, I want to, man, but I can't.
Come on.
I can't. Next time on Board Game Snobs.
Next time on Board Game Snobs.
We're going to talk about games.
Jerry.
Unless, because we got to get off here to play Arboretum. I've been dying to play Arboretum for like 2 years. Paul, we're going to have to get off here and play Arboretum. We love y'all. We thank you, Joe G, and Joe G's wife, who loves me. Keep strong. Denver.
Hey, back the cat having Denver.
That's not her name. I don't think that's her name. It's probably her handle.
It might not be.
Either way.
Let us know your name, and please tell me we didn't offend you, because we're stupid.
All right, number one, you can't offend people from Boston. That's against that. That's not how it goes. Their skin is so thick. There you go.
What's that supposed to mean?
They just are. They're thick-skinned.
Am I thick-skinned?
No, you're thick everywhere else. But you're not thick-skinned.
How dare you?
Thick-boned. This is Jerry.
I'm Gabby.
I have y'all had a nice day.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.